Hi everyone, I'm Rockin Robin from CookingMexicanRecipes.com, and today I'm going to be making a nice healthy recipe for you, beef lettuce wraps. Now this recipe includes cabbage, carrots, onions, garlic, and a lot of other ingredients that I'm going to go over with you in just a minute. This recipe is also gluten-free and it's really easy to put together. So let's go over our ingredients for our recipe. We're going to need a pound of hamburger. I have some ground beef right here. We're going to need a little bit of sesame oil, and we're going to use some soy sauce. We'll need a little salt and pepper. We need some green cabbage. I've got a couple of cloves of fresh garlic right here. I'm using a couple of carrots. You can use either, a couple little ones. I got little ones here or one big one. A bunch of green onions. And then here I have some yellow onion that's diced nice and fine. And we'll also need some lettuce. Now here I'm going to use, I like using the butter lettuce because when you pull off the leaves, you can see here they make nice little cups, and it's perfect for when you put your filling right in the middle. You just want to wash that and pat it dry, and we'll be ready to go. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we want to slice up our cabbage. We want to make some nice thin slices, and then we're going to chop it. So just go along with your knife. Now we have that little core right there, so we don't want to chop that up. So I may just go around it. And then once you get to this point, you're going to want to slice it in the opposite direction so that we get a nice, finely chopped cabbage. We want these pieces nice and small. So this is about how finely chopped you want this to be. You can see it's pretty fine. And you're going to need about a good cup and a half to 2 cups of this, and we're going to place it in our bowl over here. And I'm going to have all the ingredient measurements in the description below the video, so you can find that there. All right, so with our carrot, what we want to do is I'm just going to cut off the tip in the end. Whenever you're cutting something that's round like this, it's a lot better, I'll cut that in half, if you cut one side of it so it's not rolling around on you. So we'll make one little cut, and now it's flat and it's not going to roll around and be dangerous. So we're going to cut some strips, nice thin strips. I'm going to cut little matchsticks like that. And then what you want to do is go the opposite direction, and you end up with a nice fine mince. Okay, so now we're going to place all of our carrots in our bowl. Now we're going to work on our green onions. So with our green onions, we're just going to slice off the ends and do a nice thin slice. Remember to use your claw grip. The knife hits your knuckles, and you can make some nice, pretty quick slices without any chance of cutting your fingers. Just give it another little chop through, and we'll add this to our bowl as well. So now we're ready to go ahead and slice up our onion, and we'll do our garlic. So with the onion, I've got a half of an onion here, peeled, and we're going to make some horizontal cuts. Now be really careful when you do this. Make them, as close as you can get them, and just work your way up, and like I said, be really careful with your fingers. And you try and slice, not all the way through, but pretty close. Okay, so once you got your horizontal slices, now we're going to do our vertical ones. And I'm going to go back to, this point here, maybe 3/4 of the way. And again, if you make these close together, you're going to get a finer mince. Now you can see, when I make these cuts, how your onion is already nicely minced up, nice and small. Saves you time, saves you tears. So we need about a half a cup of this, and that should do it. All right, so now we're off to do our garlic. Now, when you do the garlic, you can either use a garlic press like this, or you can do it by hand. Either way works. So we'll take our garlic, and we want to cut off the little tip. All right, we'll start with that. Cut off both little tips, set them aside. Take your knife and crush your garlic. Sometimes I like to just pound it. That's going to help you get the peel off real nice and easy, like that. And now you can just slice this. And I'm going to want to mince this, so I'm going to cut it the other way and just chop it up. Take about a minute to chop it up nice and fine. So that looks like a nice fine mince there. That works. And I'm just going to place this in with the yellow onion that we just minced up. So I'm going to put it right on top. All right, now we're ready to start cooking. So I've got a cast iron pan right here. If you have a wok, you can use that too. But I have cast iron. I like to use that. I can work with some really high heat. I'm going to put a little bit of sesame oil in there, just a little bit. And I'm ready to start frying my ground beef. So I'm going to go ahead and place that in. Now I want to break this up. Spread it out. And we're just going to cook this until there's no more pink. All right, so you can see here that we've still got a little bit of pink going on. And I'm using 2 spatulas. You can use a wooden spoon or whatever you have to break it up. I want these pieces to be on the small side. I haven't seasoned anything yet. We'll be doing that in just a minute with the rest of the ingredients. And then what we're going to do here, once we get all the pink cooked out of the beef, then I'm going to transfer this to my metal bowl here and set it aside, and we'll be cooking our onions and garlic. Okay, so our ground beef is done, and if your ground beef has a lot of fat in it, you want to drain that out. Mine doesn't seem to have very much, so I'm just going to transfer this to my bowl. I'm going to keep it warm. Nice thing about cast iron is you don't have to worry about scratching your pan. Now that we've got the ground beef on in the other pan there, I'm going to add just a little bit more of the oil to the pan, and I'm going to add the yellow onion and the garlic. And we're going to saute this for about 2 minutes until it gets translucent. So I have my temperature medium-low. Okay, so we've been sauteing the onions and the garlic for a couple minutes now. Now it's time to add the rest of our ingredients. So I'm going to add in the cabbage and the carrots and the green onion. I'm going to add a teaspoon of soy sauce, maybe just a little extra. If you like a little extra, go ahead and do that. You can always play with the recipe. I'm going to add a teaspoon of garlic powder. Sprinkle that around. I'm going to add a little salt and pepper. Here's our pepper. We'll add our salt. Now we're going to cook this until everything gets softened up. And if it looks a little too dry, you can always add just a little bit more oil to it. And I may do that in just a minute. We'll see how this cooks. And we'll do this for probably 3 to 5 minutes. This has been cooking for about 3 minutes or so, and it looks like it's softened up pretty good. So I'm going to add the ground beef back to the pan, and I'm just going to cook it a little longer until I get that meat nice and hot again. Mix it all up really well. And you can see this makes a fair amount, so we'll be able to make quite a few lettuce wraps with it. And you can always taste it at this point and see if you need to adjust any of your flavorings. Add a little more soy sauce if you want, or more salt. And then we'll be ready to serve it up in our lettuce wraps. Okay, so our beef is done, and now we're ready to put our lettuce wraps together. So what I've got here is a little platter and a couple of our little leaves. So just scoop up. And like I said, what's nice about these is they make nice little cups. So you just take 2 or 3 tablespoons of your filling, and it's sort of like a taco almost. And then I have a little bit of Thai red chili sauce right here, which is kind of sweet and a little bit hot. So you just set up a couple of these on your plate, and there you go. I'm anxious to taste this. So what you do is, let me grab this one. You pick it up, and you can add a little bit of this sauce if you like. It's, like I said, it's a little sweet, a little spicy, gives a little nice little flavor to it. Put a couple on there like that, and you just kind of roll it up, sort of like a taco, like I said, and you take a bite. That is really, really good. A nice healthy meal, lots of good flavor. I hope you guys will try this. Be sure and subscribe to my channel by clicking on the link right up here, and thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.